Welcome to Inside Marquette Basketball here at the campus of Marquette University, the Al McGuire Center, and here with Marquette men's basketball head coach Shaka Smart. And coach, we're getting a little deeper into the season now. 7 games now, the team's sitting 4-3, coming off of a win over the weekend here at home against Central Michigan. And a lot of positives to take away from that win, but I know the theme for you after back-to-back losses at home to Maryland and to Dayton, it was response. You wanted to see your team respond after those 2 games. What did you see from your players?
I thought our guys did a good job coming together, and we've been pretty consistent with how the guys have practiced. They've been terrific with their approach, but one of the areas through 6 games where we really talked about we needed to be better was our in-game consistency in terms of how we act, interact, and respond, how we handle challenges in the game, which is always going to be. And we thought that, we really needed to take a step with that. I thought our guys did a good job just with some of the small cultural micro behaviors that make us who we are and have made us who we are over the years. I thought we definitely took a step in that direction. Offensively, I thought it was a pretty good game for us. We continued to see a lot of different zone. I thought the guys handled that really well. Defensively, we had our moments. They made some tough shots, and they hung around, but our guys never really wavered, and they stayed together.
What do you make of just how the team is being tested early, right? Like these close games, getting into overtime already against Dayton, and just, having experience now in closing out games. You acknowledged that after the win.
Yeah, I think that these games early in the year are always good to prepare you for what's coming later in the year. And, you can play in a variety of different games. I think for us, through 7 games, we've seen a lot of different things, a lot of different defenses, a lot of different approaches. And we've been in some games that have tested us. And I think, it's 2 things. One, you want to learn in the game itself as it goes on and find a way to win. But then, of course, with the growth mindset that we really, really emphasize with our team, all of our guys, but especially our young guys that are in their 1st or 2nd year of college, you want to learn from game to game. And you have these games and these experiences that you have in your pocket. And, compared to maybe a month ago, it's way more and a way better understanding of what you have to do. And then that's individually, and then we come together collectively to try to win.
As a team, you guys shot a season high 53% from the field, 21 assists as well. That was also a season high for you. Offensively, how is this group kind of finding its flow as you and your staff you're using different lineups, right? You're going deeper into your bench, and especially with your younger players, just getting them more run on the floor.
Well, I think there's a lot of components of that. Number one, with Sean going down a couple of weeks ago, that forced a shift, in our lineup and in some of our rotations. NJ was already playing a significant role, but he became, a starter. And then, Chase basically becomes our next point guard who handles the ball a lot for us anyway. Right now Chase is playing with by far the most offensive confidence of anyone on our team, which is understandable because he's played so many more minutes than anyone. But what we need is to continue to step forward with other guys, just making a simple play and having the confidence to do the right thing consistently over and over and over again.
And Chase put up a huge game Saturday against Central Michigan, 27 points for him. He's led you in double figures every game so far this season, but only 8 field goals for him. He was really aggressive getting to the line as much as he did in Central Michigan. And we've talked about this. You're going to demand a lot of Chase this season. How do you think he's responding to that challenge?
Well, I think there's a couple different parts of that, Sophia. First of all, the cultural emphasis and influence that he has on our team, how he acts, interacts, and responds, how that impacts the rest of us and his teammates is huge. I think he's doing a really good job with that. We've talked about all summer his twin kryptonites, frustration and boredom, which, someone might say, well, why would you ever get bored? It is a really, really challenging thing to stay mentally intense and locked in on doing the right thing over and over and over and over and over again over the course of, weeks and months. But I thought he did a really good job during the Central Michigan game. I didn't see either of those things. I think that sometimes, because we're asking so much of him, he can almost try to do too much. But right now, we'd almost rather err on the side of that than being passive. He's doing a great job of understanding this shift in the officiating, which is you can get a continuation with a foul almost any time, as long as when the whistle's blowing, you kind of go up into a shot motion. And so that's why he's going to the foul line so much. He's doing a great job attacking, drawing contact, and getting that continuation.
And I know the leadership was a big focus for you and for him as well, right? Of how much do you count on him on the floor with your younger players?
Well, with Sean being out right now, he's the main frontline leader. Ben can lead by example, but Ben doesn't speak up a lot, and he's got such a kind of a respectful way about him. He's one of the last guys on our team that's probably going to call someone else out. We've got younger guys that are probably more likely to him. So really for Chase, there's a lot on his shoulders, and playing well and leading are not necessarily the same thing. We need both from him. If we can only have one, we need playing well. But we do have to have a level of leadership on our team, and that right now has to be done by committee. We don't necessarily have one guy that's necessarily like the general out there telling everyone what to do. But, one of the exciting things is I think as this team continues to evolve, we're going to see more and more guys step forward in terms of their cultural leadership.
We've got more to talk about here with Coach Smart as this team continues to grow and we get closer to the Big East Conference season. Shaka Smart's interview is presented by Wintrust, Wisconsin's bank, the official banking partner of Marquette University. Inside Marquette Basketball is brought to you by Aurora Healthcare, the healthcare choice of Marquette Athletics.
It's hard to put into words what my time was like here at Marquette. Unbelievable experience. This is where I grew from a young boy into a grown man. Great 4 years, had great teammates. Wes Matthews, Jarrell McNeil, Steve Novak, Joe Chapman, the list goes on and on. But it was a blessed time. I learned a lot as a basketball player, but I grew even more as a person. Still heavily involved in the game of basketball. We do player development, my wife and I. She played at the University of Kentucky, so we got a heavy basketball background. So we do player development. It's called Jesus is Bigger Than Basketball, so we use basketball training as a platform for ministry.
Where Are They Now is brought to you by Aurora Healthcare, the healthcare choice of Marquette Athletics for over 20 years. We're back with Inside Marquette Basketball and head coach Shaka Smart. And coach, one of the core principles for this program is growth. You've spoken a lot about how we're going to see your young players and this team continue to grow together. Again, just very early in the season, 7 games here. So what are the things that are most important to you that are happening in between games, in the practices, right? You said on Saturday, I can't remember the last time this team had a bad practice. So what are the things that you're working on day in and day out to keep that growth going?
Well, learning. In order to grow, you have to learn. That occurs down on the practice court. That occurs when we watch film with the guys. We spend a lot of time together. I had a couple guys at my house last night, just sitting down talking about what they've learned and what our team needs to do to apply what we've learned. I think, there's obviously multiple phases of growth. First is just gaining a higher level of awareness of what it is that a player or a team needs to do to be successful. Then it's, being able to actually apply what you've learned in the moment repeatedly. And, I think we have a lot of guys on our team that are getting better at being highly aware of what they need to do out there, but they're still a ways away from that that veteran that you see out there that really gets it and is always one step ahead. They will get there. And the exciting thing about the way that we've gone about things, and we've been fortunate, we've had very good retention. So guys have come back and continue to learn and grow and be able to apply the lessons that they've had, earlier in the season or even in previous seasons. So I think, these next several games it's very exciting for us because there has been a lot of lessons through 7 games, and now there's the opportunity for our guys to really put those lessons into play in the game, and that's exciting, and I'm looking forward to watching.
And we've spent time talking about the freshmen, and Nigel James Jr. has really, with this injury to Sean Jones, as he's dealing with the shoulder injury, he's stepped into the starting lineup all of a sudden. He's getting a lot of time on the floor. With Nigel specifically, what are you seeing, of how he's getting this opportunity and what you're seeing from him on the floor?
NJ is such a passionate player, and I love that about him. I love the fact that he plays to win. He cares about winning. He cares about his teammates. There was a play the other day in the Central Michigan game where, something went wrong at offensive end, but the play was still going on, and he looked all the way over at me because when we're on offense, the bench is opposite from where the guys are. And somebody came out and I said, "You don't have to do that, man. Just keep playing." But he really cares. I love that about him. He's going to be a terrific player. I think for him, the growth is like any young point guard that I've ever coached, learning to truly own and understand all the details and nuances at that position at this level, because playing point guard in high school is different than playing point guard in college. Typically, as a freshman, you usually get a chance to come in and learn, from a guy that has been doing it for a while. And that was always the plan when we recruited NJ. We started recruiting NJ before Sean got hurt. Then when Sean got hurt, his timeline obviously adjusted, and he redshirted last year. But those two guys have had a really good relationship. They spent a lot of time together this past offseason. And going at each other in practice, mostly playing against each other, occasionally playing together in practice. And so there's a growth trajectory that those guys are on together that are not necessarily parallel, but they do impact each other. Then with Sean's injury, for NJ, it had to be sped up, just because he was going to be out there more. Right now, on both ends of the floor, he's kind of drinking through a fire hose, but he's also making a lot of really good plays for us, and he's someone that we're really excited about. And I think that he's someone that's going to be a very, very winning point guard as he continues to gain experience.
And another player, Zayd Lowry, he's second on the team in minutes right now. He's in your starting lineup. It seems like he and NJ are starting to develop a nice little chemistry on the floor as well. What are you seeing with Zayd and how he's taken advantage of this, extra playing time?
Well, Zayd's a guy that I've known for over 4 years, and I really appreciate the relationship that we've developed. He's someone that grew up without a significant father figure in his life, and we got a few guys like that on our team, and I appreciate the chance to be a mentor and father figure for him. He's really grown as a young man. I mean, it's been really fun to watch, just him step forward and kind of come into his own as a man. When he was really, really young, first getting here, I think there was just kind of testing out of, can I do this? Mm-hmm. And one of the best things about this season is you see more and more him understanding, yes, I can. And I still think there's even a couple more levels in him of maximum effort, relentlessness, toughness and physicality on the floor. But we are seeing it more, which is really, really cool. He's dunking the ball a lot, which is never a bad thing. I don't know through 7 games what the number is, but I bet you it's significantly more than anyone else on our team. And he's a guy that, again, he still has a lot more steps that he can take. And I'm excited about pushing him and mentoring him to get to that point.
Inside Marquette Basketball is presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
We're very excited to be here. Our program relationships are very, very important. And just listening to some of the stories that you were telling earlier, it's clear that that's what Children's is all about. So for us, this is an unbelievable opportunity to give us a chance to be about others and also gain some perspective. We get a little wrapped up in our own little bubble sometimes of what we're doing. Sometimes we need to be reminded that there's a lot larger things going on in life beyond just a basketball game. We really, really care about our community, and we're happy to be here. We want to say thank you to all the team members for having us. And excited to go meet some kids.
Thank you, guys.
Coach, we just saw that great visit that you took your team on, including the dads, right? Following off of that Marquette dads game that you did against Maryland just a week or so ago. And for you to take your team over to Children's Hospital just down the road here, what do you want your players to take away from a visit like that and the time that they got to spend with the kids there?
Well, perspective, number one. I mean, it is such an eye-opening experience when you see young kids, even babies, going through, what some of the kids are going through over there and battling through with such courage and such positivity. And I think for us as coaches and players, it's a reminder that, number one, what we're doing pales in comparison to, the seriousness and importance of that. Mm-hmm. But number two, hey, let's not take ourselves too seriously and understand that there's an opportunity to really approach this with great gratitude and great enthusiasm and going after being the best basketball player, the best basketball coach you can be. It's pretty cool. And then the other thing, Sophia, is, we've always talked about the fact that we're smack dab here in the middle of Milwaukee. We really, really enjoy being part of this community. We never want to look at Marquette being separate from Milwaukee or Marquette basketball being separate from the community at large. And that's a real important lesson that I want our guys to get. And that's for wherever they live later on in life. It's really easy to get in your own little bubble where you're focused on what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. But the reality is all around us, there are human beings that are living and breathing and going through different experiences. And if we can positively impact them with what we do, whether it's on the court or off the court, whether it's through our attitude, whether it's through our play, whether it's through our enthusiasm, our example, then that is such a positive domino. And again, if that's a lesson that I can teach our guys beyond just putting the ball in the basket, then that's very important.
And we say we are Marquette all the time, right? But in your office, when you come in here to the Marquette basketball program, it says we are Milwaukee. And why is that important for you to message that to your players as well, right? Especially the support that they receive from so much of the Marquette community and across the city, at Pfizer Forum and just the enthusiasm around your program.
Well, not to get too spiritual on you, Sophia, but one of the things that I've learned in my journey is there is no such thing as separation. We are truly all connected, truly. And we're truly all made of the same stuff. So I think, number one, seeing that commonality is a positive. Number two, again, helping our guys understand that we're part of something much larger. Our games are very, very important to us. They're very important to our fans and a lot of people that support us. And so our job is to really appreciate that and make the most of that. And then really connect with the people that make this community so special. We're smack dab in the middle of a significant city, and there's real life all around us. And so we want our guys to understand that. We want our guys to embody the toughness that you have to have when you live in a city, and also the perspective that you have to have.
When you had the Children's Wisconsin visit, you had the dads there. How cool was that to share that as part of the Marquette Dads weekend around the Maryland game and to have them be involved in that whole weekend for your team?
Yeah, we actually had not just dads, but we had some of our moms as well, because whenever we do one of those type of games, we've done a community service element around that and invited all of our parents. And so it's just, again, anytime that we can be connected to try to go do something positive for someone else, we're all in for that.
All right, we're going to look ahead to what is next for Coach Smart and the Marquette men's basketball team coming up here. Inside Marquette Basketball is presented by Pepsi. Thirsty for more. Back on Inside Marquette Basketball, Coach, we are looking ahead. The day after Thanksgiving, you will be playing Friday against Oklahoma back in Chicago as part of the Bad Boy Mowers Classic. Another great opportunity. You've got a couple of days to get ready now. First of all, just how do you want to use that time to prepare for Oklahoma and what's ahead for your team?
Well, we've had a lot of games in a short amount of time, so this is the first stretch where we've had significant practice time in between games, more than just the 2 days to prepare for the next game. So it gives us the opportunity to really, really focus on areas where we need to be better regardless of opponent, areas that are advantages for us that we want to press more, and then, you know, just continuing to build out our team connection out there on the floor, defensively, offensively, who we are, how we handle different situations, and then bring that to life in the games.
You got the opportunity to play in Chicago at the United Center against Indiana. Great turnout from the fans. What are you hoping to see over Thanksgiving weekend as you guys get ready for this Oklahoma game as well?
Well, Chicago is such an important city to Marquette and to Marquette basketball. We have so many fans down there. We have so many alums down there. So we'd love for as many people as humanly possible to come to UIC and come watch us play. It's one of the reasons that we scheduled those games, is just to say to all the folks in Chicago that are Marquette people, we really love you, and you know, we want to play in front of you, and we want you to come out and watch us. But I think most importantly for our team, it's another chance to play a high-quality opponent. It's another chance to grow. You know, we want to continue to gain consistency on the defensive end. This will challenge us in that regard, which is great, and I'm super excited about the opportunity.
One of the things that you've said, you know, early on in the season here is that your team has probably seen zone defense more than any other team in the country. What will Oklahoma present to you on the floor?
They actually have not played zone defense at all through 6 or 7 games this year, so that'll be a real test to see if they throw it out against us. But you know, our guys are getting better and better at handling it, and you know, if we do see all man-to-man, then you know, we'll play against that as well. What's most important is that we stay true to our principles, the things that bring us success. Our guys are learning what that is. They're learning how to make each other better, and that's going to be a big key for us on Friday.
Since it's the week of Thanksgiving, Coach, are you willing to share what the theme for this week or for this upcoming Oklahoma game will be?
I don't set the game theme or give the staff or the team the game theme until about 2 or 3 days before, so we haven't done that yet. I definitely have a few percolating in my mind. But again, you know, right now, our biggest focus is having a growth mindset, which says I can and will grow from any experience. And it's the opposite of a fixed mindset, which says whatever happened last defines me and will not change. It's really important for us to really, really be stubborn about that, because there's a lot of forces on the outside that can push the other way, which is understandable, but we get to determine our mindset. And that's another really important lesson for me to teach our guys, is that you know, never let someone else determine for you the way you approach your growth or your preparation or your performance. That has to be determined on the inside.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you so much for the time. Have a happy Thanksgiving to you and your team. Best of luck in Chicago against Oklahoma, and we'll see you back home at Pfizer Forum very soon.
I'm grateful for you, Sophia.
We are grateful for you, Coach. Thank you so much. That's Inside Marquette Basketball here with head coach Shaka Smart.
This has been a presentation from Learfield,